Seinfeld Explained, Season 2, Episode 11, The Chinese Restaurant. Three friends trapped in a Chinese restaurant lobby before a movie screening, battling arbitrary seating logic that makes no sense. A monopolized payphone blocking George's romantic emergency, and Elaine's escalating hunger that transforms her into a would-be criminal. Jerry's caught lying to his uncle about being sick, when a witness from the uncle's office appears at the exact restaurant he shouldn't be at. This is the famous Nothing Happens episode. No apartment scenes, just 20 minutes of pure waiting that reveals how quickly civilization collapses when people can't get what they need.
This is the famous Nothing Happens episode. No apartment scenes, no other locations, just the lobby of a Chinese restaurant where three friends wait for a table before a movie screening and slowly lose their minds.
How long are they waiting?
The host keeps saying 5, 10 minutes, but that never changes, no matter how long they've been there. It's restaurant purgatory.
And each of them has a personal crisis unfolding simultaneously. Jerry's caught lying to his uncle about being sick when a witness appears. George needs the phone to salvage a romantic disaster. Elaine's hunger is making her increasingly unhinged.
They need to eat fast before Plan 9 from Outer Space, one night only screening.
Of course he is.
But the host, Bruce, keeps seating other parties ahead of them.
People who arrived after?
Parties who arrived after them keep getting seated. Jerry protests. Those people just walked in, and the host insists they were here before, with zero explanation.
Just confidently lying or operating on rules mortals can't understand?
Both, somehow. Then Mr. Cohen arrives and gets immediate seating. Jerry asks why. The host explains, Mr. Cohen always here, as if it's a permanent state of being, then adds, Mr. Cohen live on Park Avenue.
Living on Park Avenue justifies line jumping?
Presented as obvious, yes. Like citing physics.
The host's superpower, delivering completely arbitrary nonsense with the confidence of someone explaining gravity.
Meanwhile, George is trapped in phone booth hell. He desperately needs to call Tatiana after a previous date disaster.
What kind of disaster?
George describes perceiving an impending intestinal requirement during intimate moments with Tatiana that would surpass by great lengths anything in the sexual realm. The bathroom lacks a buffer zone, meaning she'd hear everything.
Oh no.
So he abruptly left with zero explanation. Now he needs to call and explain without actually explaining. He says his only possible excuse would have been claiming he's Batman, responding to the bat signal.
The Batman excuse is both ridiculous and somehow the only thing that might have worked.
But he can't make the call because strangers keep monopolizing the only payphone. First, a guy in a coordinated outfit George hates on principle.
We're living in a society.
Exactly. George delivers this increasingly passionate monologue about civilization to a woman who cuts in front of him,
Building to that crescendo.
Then, when the coordinated outfit guy finishes and apologizes for taking so long, George immediately becomes polite and deferential. Oh, that's okay. Really, don't worry about it. Zero confrontation.
The gap between his private righteous fury and his public pathetic behavior is the entire George experience.
Elaine's hunger is escalating from irritation to desperation. She starts contemplating stealing food off strangers' plates, then attempts to bribe the host with $20.
Does it work?
The host takes the money, then immediately calls another party's name and seats them instead. Elaine gets absolutely nothing. Either he doesn't understand bribery, or he understood it perfectly and just robbed her.
Elaine's bad at crime.
Jerry tries to get the $20 back, explains it was an embarrassing mistake. The host responds by asking if Elaine's Jerry's girlfriend, then launches into philosophical relationship counseling.
Completely ignoring the money?
Completely. Jerry's attempting a financial transaction. The host derails it into unsolicited romantic wisdom. The money's just gone.
Then Jerry offers Elaine $50 to walk to a nearby table, take an egg roll, eat it without explanation, and leave.
Elaine attempts it, but then tries to make it logical by negotiating with the diners at the table, offering them $25 of Jerry's money to let her do it.
She's creating a three-way financial negotiation for food theft that makes no sense to anyone.
Meanwhile, Jerry's got his own crisis. He canceled dinner with his uncle, claiming a stomach ache so he could see the movie. Then he spots a familiar woman at the restaurant, but can't place her.
The worst possible person?
Lorraine from his uncle's office, the worst possible witness. She approaches, they make small talk, and Jerry realizes she'll tell his uncle she saw him at a restaurant, completely healthy and eating.
Every minute of friendly conversation is evidence piling up against him.
Jerry describes the incoming chain reaction of family phone calls across New York, Long Island, and Florida. And they never actually get seated and end up leaving to go to his uncle's anyway. So the whole deception was pointless.
He ends up exactly where he tried to avoid.
What happens with George's call?
George finally gets through to Tatiana. She's not home. He leaves a message for her to call him back at the restaurant. Then he anxiously keeps checking if she's called.
While she's actively calling back?
Exactly. The host starts yelling, "Cartwright, Cartwright!" No one responds. George returns and asks if there were any calls for Costanza. The host confirms there was a call, he yelled Cartwright, nobody answered, so he hung up.
The name is completely wrong, but the host acts like this is a reasonable system that should have worked.
George has this anguished moment, "I'm Cartwright!" Briefly trying to retroactively claim he's Cartwright, then reality collapses. "Of course I'm not Cartwright!"
George's one genuine emergency call gets destroyed by absurdist bureaucracy. He did everything right and still lost to mangled communication.
After all the waiting, scheming, bribery attempts, and phone anxiety, they finally give up and leave.
That's when their table opens up?
Immediately. The host calls Seinfeld 4 to a completely empty lobby. Perfect anticlimax after 30 minutes of suffering.
This episode is about how quickly civilization collapses when people can't get what they need. Elaine contemplates food theft. George abandons all principles. Jerry watches his lie unravel. All because they're trapped in lobby purgatory.
The restaurant's arbitrary logic is delivered with such confidence you can't argue. Park Avenue residency as line-jumping justification, Cartwright as reasonable pronunciation of Costanza, taking bribes without providing services.
And all three personal crises converge in the same space because nobody can escape.
The genius is the anticlimax. After all that waiting and scheming and suffering, they leave just as their table opens up. Their patience broke 5 minutes too early.
George's new catchphrase, "We're living in a society," captures his pattern. Passionate, righteous speeches in private that evaporate into pathetic deference in public. The anticlimax structure shows up again, building frustration that resolves through giving up just before success would have happened. Jerry's lies to avoid family obligations continue getting exposed at the exact wrong moment through pure bad luck.